Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today we'll start the concept of static keyword, and a little bit of this is already known to you. When we have discussed about the public static void main, in that essence we know already what is the static. So if we declare something, some member of the class as a static member, so in that case, to access that member from outside the class, you need not to create any object of the class. So in that sense, we can say the static member is actually a class member. It is not an instance variable or a method which is dependent on the instance. Now, how it is actually being done? So, static keyword enables the member of a class to be accessed directly associating to the owner's class name without the help of the object. So, this is already known to us. Static can be used as a variable, it can be used as a method, it can be used as a block. Static variable, if you declare a variable as a static variable, so normally when you declare a variable, what you write? You write something like int a, or you like to write public or private int a. And now if I add the static keyword with it, like static int a or static public int a. Now we know that static public static means the same thing. So order can be anything. So the static public int a and static int a, these are under one category, and without static normal int a or public int a, this is in the other category. So when we declare something in this way, we call them instance variable. And this thing is already known to you. Instance of a class means the object. So these are instance variable or object variable. When an object is created under that particular class, so for each object, every instance variable gets its memory allocation. So if you declare something like, if you declare something like class A, under which you have int A, then double B, in that way, if you declare something. So when we create object of A like this, another object. So when this A1 is created, the memory implication of this A1 is like this. So when you just write this new A, that means you create an instance or an object of the class A. In the class A, we had two instance variables. One is A, another is B. So under this object, we will be having two separate spaces, one for to keep the value of A, another for keep the value of B. Now, these two spaces are incorporated or encapsulated inside this object. Okay, and this A1 is the reference which is referring to the object. As a whole, we can say this is A1 object. When you create the A2 object, the similarly, just by writing new A, we get some memory space available a completely different memory space available inside which we have the room for A and B as we had before. So this is the memory implication of your second object, and this is the instance. Sorry, this is the reference which is referring to the second instance. So this is what is happening for creation of different objects for the class A. So you can see for each and every object you create, for each and every instance you create for the same class, how many different instance variables you had there, you will be having different copies of all these instance variables present inside the instance or the object. Okay, so this small a is having different representation for different object present over here. So if you write a1 dot a equal to 50, so that 50 will come over here. Similarly, if you write a2 dot a equal to 25, so that 25 will come over here, and they will never be exchanged or they will never be overlapped. They will never uh, be interchanged accordingly. Okay, so these type of variables we call the instance variables. Now instead, if you write here static int c, now as we have added this static keyword at the declaration of this c is no more an instance variable. The static variable is not an instance variable. That means for every instance, you will never get different copies of the static variable. Okay? Static variable is only assigned the memory space once when the corresponding class gets loaded in the memory. Okay? When the corresponding class will get loaded in the memory, it will be only loaded when the object of the class will be created or the static block will be executed. These are the only cases when the corresponding class gets loaded. Otherwise, if you do not refer to a particular class from your program, that class will never be loaded, even if that is present in the same source code. Still, it will never be loaded. Okay, it will only be loaded when you refer to the class. When you create an object of the class, then only the class gets loaded. And when the class gets loaded, if it is having a number of static variable inside it, all the static variable will be having their memory allocation. And this will only happen once. Irrespective of any object, just a single memory allocation will be done for the static variable. So when the A class, if you are creating object like this for the A class, so obviously A class will be loaded into the memory. So this is actually the memory implication that we are showing here. So for your A classes C is a static, C is a static variable, so obviously it will be having just a single memory implication like this. And if you write here A dot C equal to 500, so that 500 will come here. Okay, and you can see to refer C, I have used the reference with the class name, not with any kind of a object that we already have created here. So this is the basic difference between the instance variable and the class variable. Okay, so only one copy will be maintained throughout the class, and different copies will never be present for different objects. So for the presence of the object, the static variable's existence doesn't matter. Okay, so that is the implication of the static. So static variables are also known as class variable because their existence only depends on the class's existence, not on any instance of the class. Okay, so they are not instance variables, they are called the class variables. And memory allocation for them is done at the time of loading the class. So we already have discussed about it. Now, static keyword can also be used for the methods. If a method becomes static, it can only directly refer to other static members present in the class. So, again, let us go to the workbook. Okay. So, if you write here static void ABC. So this is a method which is a static method present over here. So from this method, if you directly want to access any of the variables present over here, you cannot write A directly, you cannot write B directly, but you can write C directly. You cannot write A equal to 5. Not possible. You cannot write B equal to 5. That is also not possible because A and B are non-static variables. Non-static variables cannot be directly referred from a static method even if it is present in the same class. But a static variable can directly be referred. So this is okay. And same thing will happen for the other methods. Like if you have void PQR. So from void PQR, you can directly write A equal to 5. Okay. You can directly write B equal to 5. That is also okay. They are non-static variables. They can directly be referred from non-static methods. But to access C equal to 5, you cannot do that. You have to do this as this. This is okay. You cannot write ABC because ABC is a static method. To access the static method, you have to refer it with the class name, even if this method is also a member of the same class. Okay? Now, PQR, in the other hand, cannot be called directly from a static method. Okay? So, if you need to call this PQR or A or B, so in that case, what you have to do, you have to call the instance of the class, or you can directly write something like this. So this is okay. Okay. Because PQR is referred through some instance or object of the class. You can write, this is also okay. Because the reference you are making through the instance of the class. You can see, even if they are present in the same class, still you have to maintain this protocol. Okay. So static members, static variables, static methods, they are actually present in the different paradigm. They are member of the class but not member of the object. Okay, their existence is not dependent on the object. They can be directly referred by the class name. Now, when we go so static method can only be directly referring to the other static members present in the class. So public static void main. So main is a static method. If you try to call any method present in the same driver class from the main method, so in that case, that method also needs to be static. Okay, suppose you need to call factorial method or you need to call swap method. So whatever method you are declaring, you have to declare it as static. Otherwise, you cannot directly refer it from within the main. Okay, in that case, you have to create the instance of the class first, and through the instance, then you can call the variables or methods, whatever is present, which is non-static. Okay, and the same rule will be equally applicable for the main class. To access other non-static members, they need to do so using the objects. So we discussed about it. Static methods cannot refer to this or super keyword. This keyword we already discussed in the previous class. What was the implication of this keyword? When from inside the method you write this refers to the caller object. So that means this is referring to an object. Now, when we are inside a static method, you cannot refer to this because static method is not called through some object. So this will return what? Nothing. This is the caller object. So as the static method is not referred through an object, this is not having any implication there. So inside a static method, you cannot use this keyword. And the super keyword also you cannot use eventually because it also refers somehow to the objects. Okay. So these things are very special about the static method. And the third one is the static block. Static blocks are not part of any method but class. So static blocks are actually part of a class which executes by default when the class gets loaded. So you need not to create object of a class. You already have idea about constructors. Constructor also called by default, executes by default when objects are getting created. These are basically constructor of the class. When the class is getting loaded, by default the static block also will be executed. And throughout the lifetime of the program, it will only execute once. You cannot execute it many times as per your choice. It will only be executed once when the class will be loaded. In general, static blocks are also used for initialization of the static members. Okay, but other than that, you can use it for any purpose. But try to remember one thing, static blocks doesn't have a name. You cannot call it anytime. It will by default be executed just when the class gets loaded. Okay. So for example, if you write here a static block, it will be like this. It will start with the static keyword, then followed by that a block will come where inside you can write anything, like if I write system dot out dot println static and say it can directly refer to the static members. So say I write here C and that is to be initialized with say 2. So suppose this is your main function. This is a main which is written inside the driver class. Okay. And just when you write A1, that means you create an instance of the capital A class. Directly, the A class gets loaded into the memory and the static block executes then and there. So as the output screen, you have static. This is to be printed on the output and C will be initialized to 2. C will be initialized to 2. Okay. So these two things will be done even if you do not do any other thing present on the main function. If you do not write any of these things here, so just by loading the class, the static block will be executed by default and automatically. You need not to call anything, you actually cannot call because there is no name present for this. Okay. Now, after that, you create another object. So the objects are getting memory spaces over here. You initialize the values of A. So those are present over here. Then a dot c you are trying to change with 500, so that means this value will be overloaded with 500. So this type of thing is going to happen. Okay, so this is called the static block. Now let us go to an example which will show the nature of the static in a broader way. So they execute automatically only once during the program execution, and that is at the time of loading the class. So here test static is a class which we have started with, and it is having a private integer variable a and private static integer variable b. So one is static, another is non-static. So this is basically your instance variable, and this is your class variable. After that, test static, this is your constructor which is initializing the a value with something that you are sending through this. System.out.println from constructor, the b value you are trying to print from here, you can see the b value you are not setting inside the constructor, and you cannot do that because constructor is a non-static uh, method, and constructor cannot be static, that we have already discussed about when the constructor was discussed. So constructor cannot be static, so static variables cannot be initialized inside the constructor. So these are basically happening just because of the rules. So we consider that something was initialized in b, and if you don't initialize any value, so b is an integer, it will be initialized by 0 by default. Okay, so whatever was the initial value of b, that will be printed like test static dot b. And then we have a static block. This is the static block. Inside the static block, we have printed a line. This is from static block, and b is initialized with 20. B is your class variable, static variable, that is initialized with 20. So that is the purpose of your static block. After that, we are having a static method, add num, where we have created an object of the test static, where inside this add num is present. So test static we have created, and we are sending 15 through this. That means through the constructor, the corresponding a value will be initialized to 15. After that, we are trying to print the value, result is t dot a plus b. Then from the driver class, we are just having this like system.out.println hello test static tt. Okay, so inside your main, you have just a print statement that is printing the hello, and then you have created reference to the test static. This test static class, you are creating a reference to it. This is not an object. So if you just create a reference of the test static like this, so what is going to be the output of this program? What do you think? Any answer from your side? What will be the output of this code? If you execute this code, what will be the output? No idea. So nothing will be printed. Am I right? Nothing will be printed.
Ma'am, please repeat the question.
Hmm? What will be the output of this code? See the driver class, see the main function. What will be the output of this code? Observe the code carefully. What will be the output? At least one thing you should say. If you start executing the thing from the void main and you have a print statement there, so obviously that minimum thing will come on the output screen, isn't it? Do you need anything to do to print this other than writing the system.out.println hello? Will anyone prevent you to print this hello on the screen?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, and this is from the static block will also be printed.
How? How you get that? See, this test static TT, this is just a reference. This is not an object. So if you just create a reference, that doesn't mean your class will be loaded. So this is the basic implication of having this example. Okay, this total code will give you just an hello, nothing else. Because test static TT is a reference. This is not a class, and sorry, this is not a object. So when you are not creating any object, till then the class is not loaded. Even if they are present in the same file, still it will never be loaded. So you can try it yourself. So the output is just being an hello. After that, we are adding one more line here. Test static TT equal to new test static. Now you can see this portion is actually creating an object of the test static. Okay. So
Ma'am, in the previous example, the static block won't be executed.
the static block will not be executed because static executes when the class is being loaded. When the class will be loaded? If you create an object. Otherwise, the class will never be loaded. Okay. Even
Okay,
if you have both the classes present in the same source code, after compilation, you'll be having two different dot class files. One is the driver dot class, another is the test static dot class. This test static dot class will only be loaded into the memory if you create an object of that. Okay. So if you do not create an object, if you just create a reference, that doesn't mean that test static dot class is loaded. So if it is not loaded, the static block will also not be executed. So now I have added one more line here where we are actually instantiating the test static. So that means when you instantiate this, then and there your test static gets loaded into the memory. And if it is getting loaded into the memory and by default, before even creation of the object takes place, by default your static block will be executed. So after hello, you'll be having the output of the static block. So what will be written after that? This is
from the
from
static block.
static block. Right.
I mean, one more line
Okay.
will be printed, ma'am.
And B will be initialized to 20. Okay. So there is a B for test static. So B, this is the variable, this is the static variable, just a single copy you have that is going to be shared between all the instances you're going to create afterwards. So here the initial value of 20 will be set by your static block. So that's what you are having inside this. Okay. Now you concentrate on the test static object creation. So TT was the reference of the test static, which is referring to a memory location that is being allocated for this test static object. And you come to this. Here you have a location for keeping the value of A, that is your instance variable. Now you come to the constructor and you send this 100 to this A, and through A, this instance variable will be initialized with 100. Okay? Then system.out.println from constructor constructor b equal to, now which value of b will be printed? You have initialized it with 20, so that value will be printed here. So this is the outcome that you get after adding the second line here. Okay? Now one more amendment. Test static add num. So this static function, the static method, you are going to call from here. So now you come to this, you have got a temporary t object, temporary t object. It is also having an a instance variable, and through the constructor, this instance variable will be initialized to what? What is the initial value of this? The temporary variable you have inside this add num. What is the value you are setting to this?
15.
15. Right. So you set 15 to this. Then after that, system.out.println, so it is going to print result equal to t dot
35.
a, that means 15 from here, and 20
Mm.
directly reference, because it was a static method. So 15 plus 20 becomes 35. Right? So this will be the output of the code. So three aspects of static keyword is basically
Ma'am,
shown in this example. Yeah.
ma'am, ma'am, when we are creating the temporary object T in
Hmm.
add num, one more line from the constructor will be printed now. So it says from
Sure, sure, sure.
constructor b equal to 15.
Exactly. From constructor, the same line will be printed. Exactly so. Okay. So this is basically showing all three aspects of the static keyword: the static method, the static variables, and the static block. Now the next concept will be the nested class. So in C, you have already heard about the concept like nested if or nested loops. So here we have the nested class. Nested class means one class declared inside another class. Now that class can be directly declared inside another class like a method, or it can be a part of another method present inside another class, or it can be a part of any block present inside a method inside another class. So anyway, you can declare a, a class inside another class. Okay. So in Java, it also possible to nest classes. The purpose of the nesting classes is to group the classes that belong together. Basically, nested classes doesn't have that many usage, but if you think that with the usage of nested class your program will be better, so you can do that. Basically, from inside the class, if you want to create a data type, then we create the nested class. Otherwise, there is not much use of the nested classes. The scope of the nested class is bounded by the scope of its enclosing class. Thus, inner class does not exist independently of the outer class. So, from outside, so two classes are basically there, like a class is the outer class, which is enclosing the inner class. The declaration can be like this. Okay, the inner class is having its own members, its own variables and methods, and the outer class also having something like this. So this inner class is actually behaving like a member of the outer class, and as it happens for the other type of members of the outer class, the inner class also cannot exist without the help of the outer class. So if you declare something like int a, and to access this int a, you have to take the help of the object of this outer, exactly in the same way, to create object of the inner class, you have to take help of the object of this outer class. Otherwise, without the help of the outer class, the inner class doesn't have any implication. Okay? Now, if you have some private variable declared over here, and if you have some method present, so methods can directly access the private variable, isn't it? Private variables can be directly accessed from within the method if the method is a part of the outer class or method is a part of the same class. So it was happening like that. The same thing will happen for the inner class also. If you have some private properties declared for the outer class, these things are directly accessible from the inner class. You need not to have any uh, access, any more access privilege to access the private variables and methods of the outer class from inside the inner class. But the vice versa is not true. Like if you have some private property declared over here, those things are not accessible from the outer class. Okay. So inner class can access the properties of the outer class directly, but outer class cannot access the inner class's property directly. Inner class can access the private properties of the outer class, but outer class cannot access the private properties of the inner class. So here are the restrictions. A nested class has access to the member, including private members of the class in which it is nested. So inner class has got all the privilege to access every kind of members of the outer class directly. However, the reverse is not true. The enclosing class does not have access of the members of the nested class. If the outer class wants to access non-private properties of the inner class, it has to do so using the object of the inner class, exactly as it happens for the other cases. So if you declare something int a here, and that a you want to access from this, so what you have to do, you have to create the object of this inner, and through the object you can call it. But if you declare private int a and you try to access that through the object from here, you cannot do that because the private properties of the inner class is not accessible by the outer class. But the reverse is true. Any variable, any method, private, non-private, anything of the outer class is directly accessible by the inner class, like it was happening in case of the variable and methods. Okay, so you need not to have any more access privilege to access anything from the outer class inside the inner class. A nested class is also a member of its enclosing class. Obviously so, otherwise that private accessing was not possible. As a member of its enclosing class, a nested class can be declared private, public, protected, or default. So you can add the type of the class here. It can be private, it can be public, it can be protected, it can be a default access as this. It is exactly like the other members present inside the class. Nested classes divided into two categories: static nested class, where you declare this class as static, and non-static nested class or inner class. So before going to this, let us go to the workbook. Okay. So So you can see we have a private variable here and a non-private method here inside the in class. Now something like this. Okay. And as you can see, the private variable of the outer class I have used here directly. So there is no bound for this. But if we try to access this red val here, sorry, the A here, this cannot be done because A is a private property of this in class. Now, if you want to call this red val, that also cannot be done because the red val is also a non-private property but directly cannot be accessed by the outer class. So if you have to access the red val, so what you can do? If you write this, that means an object of this in will be created where you are sending this 25 to the constructor, and this constructor is initializing the private value to 25 dot red val. If I write this, that means the red val will be called where this A is basically 25 that you have set here. 25 plus x when you write it, so the x is basically the x of this outer class. So 25 plus 5 becomes 30, so that 30 will be returned in this case. Now if a outside class, which is not a relative, wants to access this in or wants to create object of in, can it do so? No, it cannot do. It has to be taking the help of the outer class. So first you have to instantiate the out. Then O dot in is basically a class. You have to instantiate this class and then only you can access it. Now this could be further clarified if we see the next slides. So nested classes can be either static or non-static. Normal non-static inner classes can have the access privilege like private, public, protected and default. But if it is static, the nested class that are declared static are called the static nested class. And obviously the normal feature of the static um, members that also exist here. So as a first example, we have the private nested class. In the private nested class, you can see this is the outer class, where inside you have a variable here. Then the inner class started, which is declared as private. Okay. Now the private class is having a print method, which is printing something. Then method within the inner class, this void display inner is actually the inner class's other method present. So it is instantiating the inner class and sorry, this is actually the method of this entire part is the comment statement. This is a method which is present inside the inner class. Inside the inner class, if you want to refer to this print, what you have to do, you have to create object of this inner demo. So that inner demo object you are creating and the object name is inner, and through the inner you are calling this print. Okay. So this is an example of the private nested class. Now this is basically the driver class we are using here, class my class, and there is a main function, as you can see here. This is basically trying to create the object of the outer class. Outer demo class, its object is outer. And through the outer, it can call the display inner. This is that much only it can do. The inner class is a private class, so you cannot create object of the private class from outside the um, uh, from outside that particular outer demo. From outside the outer demo, you cannot call this class from here. So only what you can do, you can create object of the outer demo, and through the outer demo object, you can call the display inner class, which is a part of the outer demo class. From inside the display inner, you can instantiate the inner demo, and you can call the print of that inner demo class. That thing you can do. So what will be the output of this class? Sorry, what will be the output of this program? So when the main program will run, it will create the object of this outer demo. Now outer display inner, so it will come over here, it will create the object of this inner demo. Then it is calling this print, so it will print this is an inner class. So that is the output of this particular code. So private nested classes are having very strict privileges, and the accessibility is only within the outer class. From outside that, you cannot have any other accessibility to that particular inner class. So this is the private nested class. Public nested class. Other than the private nested class, you can see the inner demo is now declared as public. It is having a get num, and this is the get num method of the inner class. That thing is returned. That thing is written over here. Now, a private variable is declared inside the outer class, that is the num, and that num is getting returned from this get num, which is a part of the inner demo. So this is how the private property directly can be accessed by the inner class from the outer class. Now what is happening here? The outer demo object is being created first. Obviously, without creating the outer demo object, you cannot create the inner demo object. That cannot be done. So we discussed about it earlier. So if it is a public or default access, then only you can create the object of the inner demo from outside the outer class, and that thing should be done via the object of the outer class. So first you call the first you create the object of the outer class. Now using the outer class object, this will not be the outer demo. This has to be outer only. Okay. So outer dot inner demo. Like if you want to access a variable here, if you have a variable int a, and what should you write? Outer dot a. You need to write something like this. Now this inner demo is actually a member of the outer demo. So what you should write? Outer dot inner demo. Exactly like this, outer dot a, as you have written for the normal variables. Here also you'll write outer dot inner demo. Then you instantiate, give the instance name like inner, outer new, inner demo. Okay. This new will come outside. So this line I am writing again, outer dot inner demo, then give a name inner equal to new outer dot inner demo. So this is the line. This is the corrected line. Please see to this. Then you write system.out.println inner.getNum. So when you call this inner.getNum, so as an output first you get, this is the getNum method of the inner class. So this thing will be printed first. This is the getNum method of the inner class. Then it will return this num, that means 175 will be returned from here, and that is reaching to this. So system.out.println 175. This will be the output of the code. Okay. So this will happen for the public or default access nested class. And the third example is the static nested class. You can see here inside the outer you have a static nested class inner declared, where inside you have two integer values and one integer returning method. So here is the driver class. You need not to create an object of the class outer, as this inner class is a static one. So it can be directly referred like this. Earlier you have created object of the outer class, then through the object you have called this inner, but here just by writing the name of the outer class you can call the inner, so you can instantiate it in this way. Okay, and then if you write total equal to u.getVal, u means the object of the inner class, u.getVal, so that means this 2 plus 1 3 will be printed from here. Okay, so this is the example of the static nested class. So all three types of nested classes we have created here, we have shown here. One is the private kind of, another is the public or default kind of, another is the static kind of. So these are the extensive way to represent the inner classes. So stop here today. Answer to the roll call. Roll number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
2.
Yes, ma'am. 3. Roll number 3. 4. 5. 6. 7.
Yes, ma'am. 7.
9. Roll number 9. 10.
Yes, ma'am.
11.
Yes, ma'am.
12. 13.
Yes, ma'am.
17.
Yes, ma'am.
19.
Yes, ma'am.
20.
Present, ma'am.
21. 22. 23.
Present, ma'am.
24. 25.
Yes, ma'am.
26.
Yes, ma'am.
26.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, got it. 28. 28. 29.
30,
Yes, ma'am.
31, 32,
Yes, ma'am. 32.
33, 34, 35,
Yes, ma'am. Present. Abhishek Kumar, 35.
36,
Yes, ma'am. 36.
37, 39,
Yes, ma'am.